I don't care. You wait for someone to speak. How about rock, paper, scissors? I would, as a person who loves doing games and party games, I would offer a way for us to decide who goes first. How about rock, paper, scissors to decide? The others blinked at you as you made a suggestion. Liz's expression was skeptical. And how would we decide who took turns for that? The game that is supposed to decide who's taking the first turn in the game we originally decided to play. Lee snickered, batting a hand in the air to brush away these minor details.
Trust me.
Don't be like that. We'll make it work. It's a good idea. More games equal more fun. Together you agreed on an order to go in for the set of the games, and the mini competition was on, with Lee and Liz facing each other in their first round. Liz was triumphant in that first game. The next challenger was Baxter. He and Liz went up against each other, and Baxter emerged victorious. Now he was waiting to see who he would go up against in the next round. Meanwhile, you were gearing up for a round against Cove. The winner would be Baxter's opponent. Cove stared at you with narrowed eyes. The minigame might only be a bit of meaningless fun, but Cove meant business. You took your positions, facing each other as the others watched on. You raised a hand, curled it to a fist, just as Cove did the same. 1, 3. Cove frowned, focusing intently on your hand as if you might predict what shape it would make. 1, 2, 3. You picked, I'm a paper kind of guy. I'm not a rock or scissors kind of guy. I'm a paper kind of guy. Oh, Cove got scissors. At the call of 3, Cove's pointer and middle finger sprung free of the fist. He'd chosen scissors. Doggone it. Cove wins. Cove punched the air, pairing the victorious gesture with a single proud laugh. He got the better of you today. Nope, he's fair. He won fair and square. But Cove's celebration abruptly cut off as he refocused on the new challenge ahead. Cove hadn't truly won yet. He gave his final opponent a look of steel. Baxter approached, and Cove's pose stiffened with every step the monochrome newcomer took. Cove's transparent bristling brought a sympathetic smile to Baxter's face. I can concede if this isn't fun anymore. No, we have to do it. You can't just let me win. I'm having fun. The frazzled assertion wasn't as convincing as Cove seemed to think it was, but however, Baxter accepted hesitantly. All right. He then tilted his head and his smile angled with it. Good luck. Good luck to you. The two young men raised their fists for the last game. The countdown began, and Cove threw out paper, covering Baxter's rock. Ooh, Cove's covering Baxter's rock, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, everybody. It was over. Cove stamped his feet in rapid succession before following it up with fist bump pumps using both arms. Yes! Good job, Cove. That's my man! He whooped boldly for the entire ship to hear. Cove was absolutely beaming. He won. I'm glad he did, because he was, bummed that he couldn't swim in the ocean. So at least he was able to get this. At least we were able to, get him interested in, other fun. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. Wow, you're not just Cove Holden. You're Cove Golden. Boo, I was robbed. You are so goofy. You quite let go of his moment. Wow, you're not just you're Cove Golden. Yeah, I guess I am. Lee shot Cove an amused thumbs up as Liz chuckled in disbelief. Even back when I was 18, I was making terrible dad jokes. The actual game hasn't even started and he's already getting like this. Baxter applauded politely, smoothing over Liz's interjection.
Not bad.
Good game. Cove continued to smile widely, the other contributions not even reaching him in his blissful state of victory. Oh, and hey Vaughn, you've never been very good at these kind of games, have you? Rock, paper, scissors? I feel like I'm average at this game. I'm average at rock, paper, scissors? Liz slightly slapped his shoulder for that comment. He chuckled unrepentantly. I would defend myself for that. With a devious grin, Lee picked up a pen and notepad from the bar counter. She twirled the glittery pen with her fingers. Lee clarified the rules after Cove raised a wavy eyebrow. Random words would be written down and folded up to give to another player. When it was someone's turn to be a guesser, they would show everyone else the word but couldn't look at it themselves. The other players had to help the guesser figure out what the word was without saying it directly. So it's like reverse taboo, basically. Each person was allowed to say only one clue. After all the hints were given, then the guesser would have to decide. Lee gave each guest at the mini party a piece of paper from her notepad. It was surprisingly thick lined paper with a little starfish printed at the bottom. I like that detail. She scrounged around to find more writing implements. She managed to dig up a short pencil with one old jelly grip on it, a ballpoint pen with a logo you didn't recognize, and a purple crayon. Baxter had a nice pen with him already, so he respectfully passed on Lee's offer. She turned to you.
Okay.
Here, pick one. I want the pencil. I'll take the pen. Can I have the purple crayon? I'll have the purple crayon. Of course! You pulled the crayon from the fan assortment of options Lee had presented to you. The crayon was a lot thicker than what you were used to. It smelled like kindergarten with a hint of those restaurants that used to give crayons with their kids' menus. Yes, I can relate 100%. After the random selection of words were determined and the papers were passed around, it was time to start.
All right.
I guess we know who's going now. Cove flipped open his paper and showed it to the crowd. He kept his hand at the back of the note so he couldn't see the word, even if light shone through it. In blocky, wobbly text, you read the word potatoes. You pursed your lips together as you thought what you could say. Sack! Liz turned her head with an incredulous expression while Lee continued her thought. She jumped up, pointing right at the paper Cove had in his hand. You put them in a sack. Cove blinked at Lee, deeply confused. Lee smiled back, full of confidence that he would come to understand eventually. It's the major vegetable you use in croquettes, which I just made the other day, 2 days ago, for a party. But instead of potatoes, I used pumpkin croquettes. Mwah! Delicious. I don't know what that is. Really? Baxter was earnestly taken aback, as if Cove just said he'd never had toast before. Maybe we should change that. There has to be somewhere in this town that serves them, right? Serves them? I'd make them for him. I would make him croquettes. Liz cleared her throat, saving Cove from having to respond beyond his frown. It's that Mr. Toy with different faces and things. That Mr. Toy thing with faces and things. Cove tilted his head, utterly baffled at the different directions that everyone had taken.
What?
What's a Mr. Toy? Liz simply shook her head at his lack of understanding. It was your turn to try. They're brown and lumpy. They are sweet versions and regular versions. It's a very common starchy root vegetable. Cove, forget the croquettes. French fries. My mom loves them mashed and Ma thinks it's bland. You shook your head, not offering it. This sounds like something that I'm just going direct. Cove, forget the croquettes. French fries. He'll I feel like he's gotta know that. Cove, forget the croquettes. French fries. You gave him a look, sending the answer right to him while filling in the blank Baxter had left. Potatoes! Yeah. Or a singular potato? Good, yeah, good, Cove. Good. It could be potatoes or potato. You got this, boy. You got this. You're right. Yeah. Cove repeated again with a bright and beaming grin. Potatoes. Potatoes. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Cove was so cute sometimes. You couldn't help but feel happy, too, over his victory joy. He held his hand out to you for a celebratory high five. You smacked his hand back. You gave him a fist bump instead. You gave him a thumbs up. You smacked his hand back. You slapped his hand with a satisfying smack. He nodded, still looking ecstatic. Thanks for the hint. I don't think I could have gotten it without that. You're welcome. I just know you. Well, congrats. Now let's go again. Baxter fished his paper out from his ripped pants pocket and presented it to the group. Loopy handwriting spelled out the word slide. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Crisscross. Everybody clap your hands. Okay. Kids like it. It's for kids. Kids? Lee bounced enthusiastically, holding out a hand to indicate the short height of children. Baxter nodded slowly. I would say if they were born or grew up anytime around the 80s, I would say slip or slip in. Maybe they would get it.
All right.
It's at playgrounds, but not really small ones usually. The playground around our neighborhood doesn't have it if you've been there. He shook his head, still perplexed. Unfortunately, I have not. Dang. You've been to playgrounds before though, right? Baxter's had to pause to think on it. He shrugged.
Maybe?
In my elementary school, I did have recess, but we had sports fields more than traditional playgrounds. For some reason, it's hard to picture you as a little kid. Well, I'd rather you not imagine that, so it all works out. Cove placed a finger on his cheek as he puzzled out the game's conundrum. He tapped his face absent-mindedly. It's slippery. You can't really walk on it. Oh, but you can. My 2-year-old son does it all the time. Pretty skillfully, actually. Slippery? Where's your mind going, Baxter? Every clue lost Baxter even more. He had no idea what the word could be. You sit on it and then go down. It's tall and long, and you have to climb up to the top. You can go on it one way, but can't really get up the other way. Baxter, do you know how to do the cha-cha-cha? Yeah, yes! Wasn't that the first thing that I said? Slide to the left. Slide to the right. It's fine if you don't get it. I'll let it. Penguins do it on their bellies. It's fine if you don't get it. I'll let it blank. You did not offer it. Baxter, do you know how to do the cha-cha-cha? The cha-cha slide? Oh, slide. That's it. Slide. See, I'm the one that should be winning because it's my clues that are making these people figure out the answer. So aren't I the one that's winning because I got both Cove and Baxter to guess what they were? Baxter's floundering confidence returned in full force to the broad grin.
Excellent.
I got it? He flipped the paper over and traced his fingers across the word. He smirked at it. Thank you very much for the tip, Vaughn. I am 2 for 2, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all gotta come up with some better hints. Liz patted you on the arm with approval. I guess they did assist, though. They gave some other hints that helped him get to where I got to. Nice one. You had the magic approach that time. That time I had the magic approach the other time, too. What are you talking about, fool? You unfolded the paper given to you, careful not to peek while you showed everyone. Liz leaned in closely with a thoughtful hum. As soon as Lee had a chance to read the word, she jumped up. Dog? There's a popular type of dog sometimes called that. A popular type of dog that's called that. Okay, so it's type of dog. That narrows it down a little bit. It's where scientists do experiments and stuff. A lab. Oh, a lab. A Labrador. A Labrador. A lab. Yeah, a lab.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a secret location. Liz gave Cove an edged look. She probably thought it would confuse you. No, I got it on the second clue. It can be used for photos as well. Type in your guess. You gave up and look at the paper. Type in your guess. Lab.
Good.
That's it. Yeah, I got on the second clue. You got it. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, you nailed it. Everyone cheered. Liz gave you a round of applause. You looked at the paper, and in neat, tiny writing, you saw the word lab printed. Woo! Wow, that was dumb. You breathed a sigh of relief. You shrugged. You laughed. Woo! You were thrilled that you got it. The round was a total victory. That round was a total victory. I am so winning this game. We should definitely keep this ball rolling. Suddenly, the boat tipped forward before rocking back harshly. The ship must have gone over a bigger than usual wave. Liz held onto her hat desperately. Lee laughed at her immediate death grip. You never know what'll happen on the high seas. You chuckled too. Watch out, Liz, you don't want to lose such a nice topper. You felt a burst of nausea come over you. You started feeling really freaked out about being in the middle of the ocean like this. I would get slightly freaked out. You started feeling really freaked out about being in the middle of the ocean like this. What if the boat capsized? Would anyone find you if it did? You couldn't see anyone nearby on the horizon. Could everyone swim? Could anyone swim in these waves? This was unlike being near shore. Yeah, this is kind of accurate. You thought that the boat was shaking until you placed a hand on your knee. Apparently that was just you. You took a quick breath of the salty air, and then another. I like how things shifted a little bit. Liz peered out at you from under the brim. Are you holding up over there? Lee noticed your condition as well. She spoke up while biting her lip. How about we hold the next round for now? You alright, Vaughn? No. Your arms curled around your stomach. Lee bit her lip and took a step towards you. She nervously waved her hand around as she looked you over. Do you need to sit down? Lie down? Oh, there's a bed in the interior part of the ship. No thanks. That sounds good, thanks. You stared at the ground, trying to ignore it all. You nodded to yourself. I don't know. You felt uncomfortable under everyone's attention. That sounds good, thanks. Right now you really needed a moment to get a hold of this. Lying down sounded incredibly appealing. Lee smiled carefully. Cove was at your side before Lee could speak again. He wordlessly offered you his arm. His eyes were intense. Even if your neighbor wasn't always such an open book, his intentions would still be perfectly clear right then. He was going to take you somewhere to rest if that's what you needed. You took hold of it. You didn't take his arm. You took a hold of it. You gripped him tightly. You couldn't reject his support. You needed it. Cove nodded. You had all his attention. Without removing his gaze from you, he spoke out. Which way is the room? It's just past... Lee's words started to blend together. Your cousin was talking while gesturing, but the meaning of it all couldn't get through the fog forming in your head.
Right.
Okay. Cove's... Is this a little bit more dramatic? Like, I would be freaking out just for a moment and then be fine. But I think I'm just going to let this play out just because this is a very interesting turn of events. Cove's voice was clear to you. He tilted his chin off to the side to where Lee had just pointed. There was no question that you needed to get away from this. With Cove leading the way, the two of you slowly walked over to the room inside the ship. You followed his feet, looking at anything but the edges of the boat. You leaned against him. He held up the weight without complaint. He felt sturdy, which was a small relief in your discomfort. Cove opened a thick door wide, making room for you to get by. It closed behind you softly. Suddenly the noise level dropped. You could still hear the boat rocking on the waves, but much of the background hum cut off. This is a really nice room. This is really nice. He brought you to the bed and patted the blanket encouragingly. Come on, you should at least sit down. You crossed the room together, and he used his arms as a railing when he gently lowered you onto the mattress. Your knees strained when they bent, feeling creaky and fragile. With the bed solidly beneath you, you let out a breath. Are you scared? Yeah. You look like it. It was still difficult to focus, but the familiar sound of Cove's uncomfortable chuckle made it through easily. He was trying not to panic. He clapped his hands together once, not knowing what else to do with them. He paused to scan the full length of the room. His head whipped around fast enough to make you dizzy. If there's something I could do to make you feel better, like maybe I could get you a drink? There's gotta be water here, and probably juice. There might be even that fancy sparkling water around. I could ask. Water, juice, seltzer water, I don't want anything. I don't want you to go. No, give me some juice. Something sweet and refreshing would help.
Yeah.
Alright, be right back. He rushed to the door, though stalled briefly in the doorway to give you one last look. Apparently assured that you would be okay, Cove took a deep breath and ran out. You hugged your arms around yourself, hyper-aware with how uncomfortable you felt. You were uneasy. By yourself, you only had the sound of the boat rocking to focus on. You squeezed your eyes shut as though that might physically pull yourself together. Luckily, it didn't take Cove long to reappear. You heard the thump of his shoes before he scrambled inside, drink in hand. It's Apple. I hope that's alright. Apple is fine. He started to pass you the bottle of juice before he thought better of it. What, do you think I'm gonna say, what? No cranberry? No pineapple? He twisted the lid off and then extended you the juice the rest of the way. With the drink in your grasp, he took a cool sip. Thanks, Cove.
No problem.
No problem. He smiled like there was nothing wrong. You could almost believe it too. I just want you to be okay. He sunk down to the floor with a soft thud. He positioned himself sideways as he scooched over towards an end cabinet near the bed. He glanced up at you from the ground and settled with his back to the cabinet. He was ready to stay in that spot for the long haul. You gulped down some more liquid and then sighed. You reached over Cove's head to put the drink down on the top of the end cabinet. You heard a distressing creak from the ship. Your eyes darted from the corner to corner, not sure what to do to calm down. You clutched at the sheet under you and Cove placed his hand over yours. He squeezed it, teetering you back from the worst of your panic. We're safe, I promise. I'll make sure we are. You focused on breathing, willing yourself to believe his words. I love this change. I love this. I really am enjoying this because normally it's me supporting Cove because he's got a lot of anxieties about social things, whereas me, I have anxieties about not necessarily boats, but being in deep water. And that is like, Cove has like zero fear about that. So it's really cool to have this role reversal and have me being dependent on him while I'm this anxious. Slowly, you zoned out. You weren't asleep, but the world faded from around you. Everything was shut out, leaving you floating a step away from unconsciousness. You forgot you were on a boat. I'm on a boat! Every now and then, a particularly strong wave would jolt you back into the present, but each time you refocused on being calm and became lost in your mind once again. Had it been hours, minutes, days? It felt like forever, but also like nothing. Eventually, your mind caught up with you fully. Resting, Cove's head was tucked next to you against the side of the bed. You only realized after moving. Luckily, you hadn't bothered him. You sighed in frustration that you couldn't go out there. You teared up at how badly you felt and how the trip was ruined. You needed more time to take care of yourself, you accepted. You decided to force yourself to get up. Yeah, I mean, I'm done. I'm good. I'm done. Back to the party. You decided to force yourself to get up. This was enough. You still didn't feel good, but you could still go be social. Social is how I can, like, it'll help me. That's how I will be able to recuperate. Being by myself only helps for a little bit. But eventually, in order for me to like recharge and re-energize, I need to be around people. I need to socialize. Extrovert, that's how I get my energy from. You did not want to waste this trip. All you needed to do was get out of this bed and convince everyone else that you were fine. You kicked out of bed and tried to sit up through pure determination alone. Your stomach rocked, but you deliberately ignored that. No, and now my stomach wouldn't have. I don't get seasick. Seasick is not a thing. It's not about being seasick. It's more about being scared of deep water. Oh. Cove sprung up to his feet upon the abrupt movement. He was startled by your action and hovered
What's
by.
wrong?
Do you need to use the bathroom or get some air? I'm alright now. Cove stared at you skeptically. You willed yourself to look perfectly fine. Maybe you should rest a little more. No, I want to have fun on this boat. The face you had put on him for him slid off to show you displeasure. Cove leaned back and forth thoughtfully. You don't have to push yourself. You glared at him, but he didn't budge. With a sigh, you laid back on the bed. You knew he wouldn't be convinced. Fine, but this is not how I'm re-energizing. Cove's lips quirked into a small smile as you settled back in. You stared up at the ceiling. No matter how hard you tried, you could still feel the waves knocking into the boat. Hey. Your gaze rolled over towards him. Cove watched you with a gentle face, and he tilted his head towards the side table. Want to play Hangman? Dumbstruck, you watched Cove reach up behind himself and retrieve a little guest notepad and pencil from the tabletop. He placed a piece of paper on the floor and started scribbling on the sheet without waiting for an answer. But don't think I'll take it easy on you. I'm really curious how this would play out if I wasn't nauseous or I wasn't freaked out by the sudden change. Would the rest of this moment be anything like this? Because I feel like it wouldn't. I feel like it would have deviated way differently. But don't think I'll take it easy on you. Cove looked up with a beaming smile. You better not, because I kicked your butt last time. If you don't want to stretch your arms, I can write your stuff down too. You shook your head. I can play like normal. Cove chuckled with a soft edge of anticipation. He was ready for a game. Then let's play. I picked a phrase already. You can start guessing. He squinted down at the page. He lined out for 3 words. 2, 2, and 4 letters. So it's not I love you anymore. Enter 1 letter of the alphabet. O, because there's 2-letter words. O. You got one. You reposition yourself and notice Cove's gaze start to stray. He scratched the back of his neck. You know. Cove slowly lifted his eyes. There was something in his face, the way he looked at you, that made your skin warm. We used to play little pen and pencil games like this when we were younger, remember? You nodded slowly. Yeah, like the time you called me cute through Hangman. It was fun back then. I think it's still fun now. Yeah, like the time you called me cute through Hangman. Yep, that's what I was thinking of. Shyly, he dropped his head down. You blushed and your heart skipped a beat just thinking about it all over again. Enter 1 letter of the alphabet. Let's do A, because again, we have 2-letter words here. Really? Then those must be I. I'm like, well, there has to be vowels in those other ones. Good guess. Orca? You rested deeper into the pillow, feeling some chills come over you. Cove reached up to run a hand down your hair as he rested his forehead against yours. You nuzzled back against him. You shared an intimate moment, staying as close to him as you possibly could from your position on the bed, and him standing on the floor. Hey, Vaughn, you know the drawings you used to have hanging in your room? The ones you made as a kid? Yeah? Did you keep any of them? Like in storage or something? I would have. I had recently been going through some of my old stuff. I still have stuff from when I was like in kindergarten. I have a whole bunch of stuff that I kept for, triggering memory purposes. Sentimental value. Did you keep any of them, like in a storage or something? I did keep them. No, they were thrown away. My mom might have kept them somewhere, but I don't know for sure. I did keep them. Why are you asking? Curious, you instinctively leaned a bit forward. Cove smiled charmingly. I've always admired your ability with a crayon. I just wanted to see them again. I mean, Harold and the purple crayon. I mean, that's a thing. Oh. Chuckling, you felt your face grow red. Cove's smile widened. I'll try to find them for you. Thank you for appreciating them. No, I want you to look for them. I don't want you to look for them. I'd rather make something new for you to look at. I'll try to find them for you. Really? Yeah, they're around the house somewhere.
Thanks.
Chuckling, Cove looked back at the paper. He held it up. You at least have to admit your skills back then are still better than mine are right now. This time you looked closely at the crudely drawn game board and tried to fight back a laugh. But it was futile. You both burst into a small fit of giggles at that. When you could breathe normally again, you resumed the game. Alright, then I'm doing I. There we go. Yep, that's right. I something, oh something. Do you remember the time you got into a big fight with Lizzie? Remember when you wanted to cheat for me? You focused fully on the game. Remember when you wanted to cheat for... That sounds like a really random thing to bring up right now. But between all of this is the one that, like, resonates with me.
No!
What? No! I never tried to cheat for you. I never cheated at all. There was a time when I thought I lost my assignment and you tried to give me yours. Oh! His eyes lit up, recalling that moment clearly. Then his mouth curled into a smirk and you shook your head snickering, anticipating what Cove had to say on the subject. That's not cheating. You did the assignment. It's cheating. It's your work, not my work. It's cheating. Well, it meant a lot to me. It still does. It is. You are a cheater. Well, it meant a lot to me. It still does. It is, and you are a cheater. I'm done. You didn't say anything more. Cove rubbed the back of his neck as he tilted his head. It hardly counts, but... Cove's expression softened to a fond look. You felt your heart leap in response. If you needed it, I would cheat for real, or anything else. See, I don't want you saying things like that. That's the thing. I don't want you doing things like that for me. Like, I would hate that. I would not approve. That would not make me happy. That would make opposite happy. I wouldn't find it sweet. I wouldn't find it romantic. Don't do the wrong things. Don't do the wrong things just to make me happy. Like, that would not make me happy. Stunned, you could only nod. After that, you both quietly, but with soft smiles, returned your attention back to the paper to continue the game. Is in it is T? It? That's another one. It is Ova? Do you remember that time you got into a big fight with Lizzie? Cove's gaze slowly rolled over to you. He snorted derisively. Which one? We were playing house, and you two kept butting heads on how to do it.
Oh.
I remember that. Oh. Surprised, Cove sat up straighter and his eyebrows furrowed. You could tell that he was searching for the memory. That was a long time ago. It was one of our first playdates all together. You got so upset you stormed out. Lizzie tried to lie about what happened, but I told my mom's how she was acting. Then she had to call and apologize. Wow, my hero, all along. As you both sat there quietly with your thoughts, a distant look marred Cove's face. Getting upset and running away was something I used to do a lot, huh? But I mean, you were a kid. When we first met, I was hiding from my dad. I'd do the same with Lizzie when Lizzie and I would fight. Used to is kind of a generous phrase considering everything. There was that time you literally tried running away from home. How about the way you ran out when I was over for dinner? You sort of secretly ran away to my room when your dad invited your mom over. You stared back at. Well, there was the time you literally tried running away from home. I mean, that's true. How about when you sort of secretly ran away to my room when your dad invited your mom over? The words came flying out of his mouth in a squeak. His face burned red, and he dropped his gaze to his lap. Yeah, I did that too. How about the way you ran out when I was over for dinner? Cove's head hung despondently. He wouldn't meet your eye.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I still remember. You feel now new waves of embarrassment radiating from him. But, you know, Cove, the important thing is, you're aware it happens. You're aware it happened, you accept that it happened, and you move forward, you know. You have to be able to look back and move forward. You could feel new waves of embarrassment radiating from him. You stared back at him. He ran a hand through his hair, which was better than the other type of running he was prone to. My mom was too right. Maybe I should work on that. There was no stopping the laugh that burst from you. Cove narrowed his eyes, but there was a small, playful look shining there. You better take your turn before I decided to run away again. The corner of his... It's gonna be hard on this boat when you're not supposed to, like, dive into the ocean. The corner of his mouth pulled into a bent smile, and you immediately matched it. You picked up the pencil to keep playing. Okay, we're running out of, like, moments. Enter a letter of the alphabet. Is. You're close. You focused fully on the game. Enter one letter. I mean, there's no other memories.